Okay, so why do so many home inspection business owners panic in their business when it comes time for the slow season or the economy shifts, or maybe there's just seasonality or ebbing and flowing in their market? Why? We see this so often that it causes us as a coaching team at Inspector Empire Builder to pause and think about things like this. So many people are panicking. Now, there is actually one thing I'm going to talk about today that sets a lot of people in a panic in their home inspection business. And it is the terror that comes with running a business when there is no money in the bank account. We don't want that for anybody. In fact, we want everybody to have bank accounts that look responsible and businesses that are growing. We want you to make as much money as possible, and we want you to hold on to as much of it as possible as well. For that to happen, there's got to be a few things in place. And that's why today we're going to talk about budgeting 101 for the home inspection business owner who is busy or running a team. So the solo operator who is busy at capacity, or the person who has grown past that business stage and has a team of inspectors, or maybe even some divisional leaders at this stage of the game. So before we can get into this and talk about budgets, we have to understand a couple of really, really important things, especially if our goal is to eliminate panic and to allow us to run our business with a sense of peace and joy that comes with good financial responsibility. So, the first thing is that you guys have got to stop running your business like it is also your personal life. We have to start to separate everything out. So if you don't have a business banking account yet or a set of business accounts, that is the first thing for you to do. Start carving everything out of your personal accounts, separate your personal life and your business life, even if you are a solo operator all by yourself, especially if you have a team. But definitely, if you are in business at all and you want to call yourself a business owner, you need business accounts. The second thing is we shouldn't be guessing where all of our money goes. It's not a mystery. And the fastest way for us to eliminate all of the uncertainty and eliminate all of the confusion with where our money is going is to make sure we're using reports. Now, I'm talking about a profit and loss statement. If you're not using a bookkeeper, then at least jump into something like QuickBooks and do it yourself. I don't recommend doing it yourself, but at the very least, you should just be organizing all of your income and all of your expenses so that you have a profit and a loss statement that will give you good business data so you can make good business decisions. So, step one, we want to make sure we're unwinding everything from our personal life. Step two, we want to make sure that we have reports telling us what money's coming in and where the money is going when it leaves. And then the next thing is one of the most important things I believe is the principle that we want to have 3 to 6 months of operating reserves saved for our business so that when those slow times come, when things seemingly just are terrifying because the economy has dipped or whatever the case is, when you're not making as much money, you don't have to panic. You can rely on those operating reserves. They also help when you want to invest in the company and grow really quickly through a business stage. There's all kinds of reason to have them. But 3 to 6 months operating reserve is the starting point for good financial responsibility for your business. What does that look like? It looks like just putting a little bit of money away every single month until you get to that number. How do you get to that number? Well, it's pretty simple. You just calculate how much expense you have for a single month, and then you multiply that times 3 to 6, and that's your range 3 to 6 months operating reserve. All right. Now, before we go into the actual budget, we have to talk about the business model that this budget works for. And we're going to lay that out. This is going to be a flyover version of what we would call budgeting 101. So please understand that this is a deep well of information, and a conversation around this always has to happen to make sure we are customizing this to your business. So, if we can help you with your financials or with your business model or anything related to growing, scaling, and refining your home inspection business, make sure to grab a free consultation with us. And we'd be happy to take a look at your business and help you see the gaps and identify the levers that you can pull to just operate at a really high level in business. All right, let's lay this out. The business model first. We operate using the service based business model called the SOG model. It's what we teach in IEB. It's the foundation of everything. SOG is SOG, stands for Service Operations and Growth. When you are a solo operator, super busy, or you have a team or even leaders in your team, you have all of these hats to wear in your business: the service, the operations, the growth, not to mention the CEO, the founder, and everything else you do in your business. But the idea is that you start to think of your business in terms of these divisions so that you can carve it up into sets of systems and processes for each of them: service, ops, growth. The cool thing is that budgets work the same. So we're going to carve our budget into the service, operations, and growth divisions, and they're each going to have a number tied to them. Now, what we're going to do is figure out how much revenue we're bringing in. So, for the ease of this video and to make it simple on me with math, we're just going to say we made $100,000 and we have $100,000 to carve up in our business. That means we're going to look at that $100,000 and we're going to say, well, how much of that should I be spending in my service lane to provide my services in my home inspection businesses, ancillaries, home inspections, anything that you do to make money? And then we're going to look at it and we're going to say, well, how much of this money, this $100,000, my revenue, should I spend in the growth division of my business, which means all of the things I do to bring in new business into my business. And that's going to be all of your digital stuff, your relationship marketing, boots on the ground, conferences, and anything you pay for that's meant to bring money into your business. And then finally, operations, we're going to look at that as well, defined as anything that supports service and growth. Very important to look at operations that way because operations is meant to support those things. It's not meant to have a big inflated budget all by itself. In fact, for operations, we want to keep our budget as low as possible, as streamlined as possible in support of the other two divisions. And just a little pro tip: operations is pretty easy to have some budget creep, especially if you're signing up for new softwares, you're just kind of trying stuff out and you forget to cancel things when you're no longer using them. Maybe take a look at your numbers and make sure you're not doing that if you need to. Okay, so we've got the service based business model, which is service, operations, growth. And we're going to put a budget in place for each of those based on the revenue and what we call guardrails. Okay, this is very important that you see these as ranges, not as percentages, not as hard, fast rules, but as ranges that you can operate within to be a healthy, high performing home inspection business. All right. So, in the service lane of your business, again, defined as all the things that go into providing your service, that's your tools, insurance, and anything else that you do with training or uniforms or vehicles or whatever it is, everything that goes into providing the service. What we see healthy companies using is 35 to 45% of their revenue spent on their service lane. So that means out of our scenario here, with our $100,000 of revenue, we'd spend between $35 and $45,000 on just the service lane of our business. Now, over in our growth lane, the things that we do to bring new business in, the range is going to look more like 7 to 12%. Now, just like I was saying before, all of these are ranges. And the reason they are ranges is because depending on your business stage and your strategy, these numbers may look a little bit different. But these are good, healthy ranges that you can think about. So, service 35 to 45%, growth is about 5 to 12%. If you're a very small, just starting out company, you might be spending more on growth of your revenue. Or if you're a larger company as well, you might be on the higher end. And somewhere in the middle, you're probably going to be in the 8 to 10 range. All right, so operations typically going to be about 15 to 23% of your revenue is going to be spent on operations if you're a healthy company. And that's keeping it as low as possible. So if you can get closer to the 15% range, that would be ideal. Finally, if you're keeping track, this does not add up to 100%. It's not meant to, because again, these are guardrails, ranges, if you will, and we haven't talked about profit yet. We want you to have profit in your business as much as possible. Now, what you do with that profit is up to you. You can reinvest it in your company. You can take it out as owner draws, or you can just let it sit there and build and accrue into your 3 to 6 months operating reserves if you need to do that. But the point is that a healthy business must have profit. And I'm not talking 1 or 2%. I'm talking more in the range of 10 to 25%, depending on your business stage. For a company who is on the smaller end with not much competition and they're kind of owning their market, they could be up in the 20-25% range. But for somebody who's in a large market, a large company, they might be in the 10 to 12, maybe 15% range. And all of those are healthy numbers. It just depends on your strategy and what you're doing with the operating expenses, the growth, and the service in your business. I'm going to go through this one more time from the top. Service, 35 to 45%, growth, 5 to 12%, operations, 15 to 23%, and then profit, 10 to 25%. If you're below 10% in profit, what I hope is that you are either purposefully spending money in your business to grow it, or you are just accelerating through a growth stage of your business and you're burning cash to hire people, train people, do things, and just temporarily bringing your profit down. If you don't have about 10% profit or higher, you probably need to start looking at your numbers and understanding what's going on underneath the hood of your business. So, again, this is just the beginning of the budgeting conversation in Inspector Empire Builder. And what I would encourage you to do is a fun little exercise. I think it's fun, at least a fun little exercise where you go back at the and look at the last month of expenses in your business. Just print it all out if you want to do it on paper, or use it on an Excel sheet, whatever your thing is, however you want to take notes, and do your best to go through every expense and categorize it as a service expense, an operations expense, or a growth expense. And then when you have those numbers, just add up all the numbers that you have in each of those three and see how much of your money went into each of those buckets. And you will be well on your way to looking through the lens of a service based business model budget. So, if you need help with any of this, if you want to go deeper into your financials in your business, or if you want to jump on a free consultation with us so that we can help you identify gaps or identify levers that you can pull to grow, scale, or refine your home inspection business, you can always reach us at support@iebcoaching.com, or you can jump on the website and just go ahead and grab that free consultation. So, hope this video was helpful to get you started thinking about your budget for your high performing home inspection business. My name is Mark, CEO of IEB. Thanks for watching.